Shalom party people, and welcome to the 12th C. This video is a 6-month update of hard use and abuse for this Ford holster company tourniquet holster. As you see it equipped, it happens to have the TechLock attached to it, which this isn't necessarily a review of the TechLock, although that will be touched on. I have a Cat Gen 7 trainer tourniquet that is well over a year old and has hundreds and hundreds, if not, a couple thousand reps of application done to it, and a set of shears, which actually kind of makes this a US made stud kit. So, kind of cool for what it is. For those of you who don't know, a stud kit is a tourniquet and a set of shears all together in one kit, which just allows for very, very quick access in the event of a medical emergency. You use your shears and expose the wound, and then get your tourniquet on there, because you may find out that they have multiple points that they're bleeding from on the same limb. And if you don't get the tourniquet up high enough because you didn't expose it properly, then it can be a really bad day for somebody. That's why it's very, very strongly encouraged that you carry a pair of shears, so that way you can expose the wound, what's going on. Needless to say, I have done another review. I don't remember if it was initial impressions or if it was like a 1-month review of this tourniquet holster, and I brought up a few things, and I'm probably going to hash over some of those again. All in all, this product is very, very well made. It has stood up to some pretty harsh abuse. It has been on my plate carrier right above my left shoulder for the last 6 months, and just taken beating after beating after beating. And other than what you may notice, these two screws right here that have rusted, and that's from sweat. So you'll notice that other than that, this thing looks like the day I bought it. And so that I have some very, very good things to say about the quality of this holster. I've messed around with a lot of other Kydex holsters of various different kinds, and some of them just don't hold up to abuse very well. This style, where it is folded, tends to have some decent overall strength, and that's just the way that it is. There's another style of Kydex holsters where they literally take 2 sheets and they will thermofold the object that they want in there, and then they'll rivet everything together. And that I have found, holds up pretty well too. It just kind of depends on what you want. But I've had Kydex holsters snap on me. A lot of times where I find that they fail will always be in the back right here. If you're not familiar with a TechLock, by the way, there is a little clip that you lift up, and then you hold those. The hardware mount points are typically where a lot of Kydex holsters fail. And that's something that I have just found, just due to torsion, stuff goes on. You will notice I have attached a shoulder pad that I cut to size and then duct taped the wazoo, because you need to use your stuff, and you find out that when you ride a tourniquet holster on your shoulder, and that Kydex, or not Kydex, the thermofolded or thermomolded plastic that the TechLock is rubbing up against your collarbone, that's not that comfortable. So improvise, adapt, and overcome, and has given me a decent amount of little padding right in there, so that way it doesn't hurt so bad. TechLock is good. I've run this on belts. I have run this in a few other configurations on different straps, different bags, things like that, and I've never had a TechLock fail on me, so that's why I went with this over the Molly clip. You'll see right here in the back that there's 3 different spots, and there's actually a total of 9 holes that you can attach things on, so that makes the TechLock, in my opinion, the superior mounting method for this, although the Molly clip that you can get attached to it is pretty decent. This is a little bit of a chunky boy, and that's just kind of part of what's going on when you have a tourniquet in there. It's going to take up some space. The shears being able to go in here was not part of the original design. That's something that was found out on a live stream for Refuge Medical, and that something that someone was like, hey, can we throw shears in there? And Bob was like, yeah, let's try. They're like, oh my gosh, it fits. That being said, I have some critiques on the design of this holster for when Mr. Ford makes a 2.0. what I would really like to see. And when he does make a 2.0, if it is even remotely according to the suggestions that I make, I will buy one in a heartbeat. I did pay full price for this holster, and it's because I wanted a solid, honest review of what's going on. The day I got it, I went ahead and pulled the hardware out and Loctited the hardware back in at the retention that I wanted, and I haven't had any issues from that. The rubber that he put in there, the Chicago style screws that are holding things together are decent. I would say that one solid piece of feedback would be maybe a little bit better coating on those screws, just as far as sweat goes. But I mean, I sweat a lot, so like I don't know how many people are really going to run into rusted hardware like that. It just, you know, kind of happens, but it has not hurt the integrity at all of that hardware. I mean, you can see it's sunk down pretty decent in there. And the oh, what was it, the Loctite that I put on there, actually, if I remember right, I think I used some of my wife's nail polish, and it's held up great. So the shears that are in there, I mean, they will come out. They do what they need to do. This isn't a review of the shears, but these are Refuge's shears that you can pick up for like 12 bucks. Standard Cat Gen 7 tourniquet. I've got other videos on it. A million other people have videos on them. They're great. This one's just wore out. Thought the blue would show up good on contrast, and it was what I was running on my plate carrier until I switched to a soft T. This does hold Cat Gen 7 or a soft T wide. It does not hold the soft T as well as I want it to, but it does hold, it does lock in. You can slide it in there and it will actually retain. I find that if you're gonna put this in here, you're gonna want to fold things down, and if you really want it to lock up, and I'm just not gonna do it on camera because I have to struggle, but you can slide it in with the buckle down, and I mean, it will seriously hold very, very well. And I mean, you're gonna have to rip it out. I do like that he flared the top. It does make for getting things in a little bit easier. The flare that's on it is good. I think the one negative thing that I had to say, like serious negative thing I had to say on production on this, is when you pull the hardware out of these, these holes were wallowed out just a little bit. So they didn't appear to be drilled the cleanest. And I took my knife and I kind of deburred them a little bit, but they were still a little wallowed out. On Kydex holsters, that's extremely common. So I didn't even care when I saw that, but it was something of note. The holes drilled for the mounting on the bottom were super, super crisp, super, super clean. And I think just a little bit more attention to detail went into those, because it's like, okay, you're going to see those holes when you're attaching things on here. Whereas these holes right here, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a pilot hole and things were lined up and then they were like final drilled during the manufacture process, because you wanted everything to truly line up, and that doesn't mean that something doesn't get wallowed a little bit. The lines on this are relatively clean. I have seen better from some like extremely high-end holsters, but I have seen substantially worse from some really, really high-end holster companies. These are well sanded, well polished, everything that's in there. There's no burrs, very, very clean, even fold up. You don't have a out of sync matchup on anything that is there, which is seriously noteworthy. I've seen some pro holsters where like dudes are charging like 80 to 85 bucks for not much more Kydex than this. And they, you know, think that they've got the best holster ever. And it's like, your lines are not that clean. So for a family operation, I'm pretty sure it's just him and his wife. For a family operation, you guys are doing a very, very good job on this holster. Like I said, it looks like the day I bought it, minus the hardware. You know, I guess maybe on the inside, because things pulled out 100 times, that, you know, it's starting to show some wear right in there. But it is a very, very well-made product. All right, so what I want to see on the Gen 2 for this thing, I want to see outright a clear channel for the shears to go in. If you look down in there, you're just going to see the lines, so that way everything can work for whatever mounting hardware you have. I want to see a very, very clear channel to where the shears with the tab up on there, ride and set right in there, and it doesn't interfere in any way with the tourniquet. And if it can have the mildest amount of retention on there, that would be great. I'm going to say this: if you're pulling your tourniquet out, you're pulling your shears out. So that is that. I can, through manipulation, if I keep my thumb on my tourniquet, pull my shears out, and do what I need to do with my shears and then re-index them. It is doable. But if you're pulling that tourniquet out, the shears are coming out, which that doesn't bother me. But I would love to see a dedicated shears channel in here, so that way it would set up and it would hold very, very well. This technically can use either the Soft T or the Cat Gen 7. I'm going to say this, the Cat Gen 7 fits way better in here than the Soft T does. That's just personal experience. I think this was originally designed around the Cat, and it's just like, oh, hey, we can slide a Soft T in here. I would like to see one of these designed specifically for the Soft T. I think that would be fantastic. And then lastly, I want to see a hardware retention optional for this, to where there would be a snap that has a nylon strap that comes around and goes through one of the eyelets of the shears that you're going to put on here, and then it would snap and hold retention for the shears and for the tourniquet. And if you could make that adjustable, that would be fantastic. If you can't, I understand. But a retention snap on there, so that way guys like me who mount them upside down on a plate carrier and they ride like this, like straight facing the ground, it's not going to fall out. And you may be like, well, why don't you mount it right side up? It's like, for a upside down carry, there's a lot of conveniences that come out of this. And that's because when I'm running it upside down, I can take one hand, I can come up and I can grab the tourniquet and I can pull it straight down. And then, oh wait, this hand's not working anymore. I can take this hand and I can come up and I can reach and grab it and pull straight down, and it makes life so much easier. That's why I like the inverted mount for a tourniquet on a chest strap or on a shoulder strap, because it is both hands accessible. It's out of the way of my shooting shoulder. It doesn't hurt when I'm, climbing, doing anything like that. When my hands are on the ground, when I'm doing push-ups, when I'm, running, doing pull-ups, anything like that, it's out of my way, which I like. It's just a convenient option when mounting to a plate carrier. So, to review, I would love to see a dedicated shears channel inside of this thing. I would love to see an optional retention strap for when I do this stud kit modification, because I get it, you didn't design this for shears to go inside. But when it becomes very, very apparent that you can do that on the 2.0 for this thing, I would love to see a dedicated shears panel, and I would absolutely love to see an optional retention tab on there, so that way things would go well. And then, if you cleaned up the drill holes that you ran through there, that would be like a super like icing on the cake thing. But let's face it, hardware is going in there. No one is ever going to see that. So like, who cares? Maybe like spend an extra $2 on the hardware for something that has slightly, stouter coating. But let's face it, 6 months of hard use, including me rolling around in the sand on this thing, that coating's probably coming off anyway. So like, keep using the same hardware. It doesn't hurt anything. It holds up extremely well. This, has passed my hard use on it, and I think it works very well. I am transitioning this away from my plate carrier, and I will have a dedicated plate carrier video that's coming out very soon from the time you're watching this. It is just more of a functionality run that I'm putting things on, just so that way my shoulders are even more free than they already are, but I'm still mounting a tourniquet inverted, just in a little bit different system. This will be transitioning probably to a belt kit for me, and I will be playing around with it in a lot of other configurations. It's still going to get very hard use, still going to get worn, but it is rotating off my plate carrier just because of the needs that I have for my setup at this time. That being said, I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think. Do you own one of these? Have you put it to hard use? Have you broken yours? Do you run a soft T in yours? Do you run a Cat Gen 7? You know, do you run the Shears? Yes or no? If you don't have one of these and you're in the market for a way to carry a tourniquet, I highly recommend this. Maybe not necessarily as an EDC option, especially if you're a little bit more low vis, like I typically run on my everyday carry stuff. But if you are already OWB, or if you have a duty use for something, I think this really, really shines in a lot of overt options. It is not the covert way to carry a tourniquet. You want to covert carry a tourniquet for whatever reason. You take one of these soft tees, you fold it a little bit flatter than this is, and you store the windlass on the side instead of inside, and then you rubber band it, and you can put that behind a belt, and no one's ever going to know you have it. But like, who cares if they see your tourniquet? That's just, you know, kind of how I feel. All in all, tell me what you think in the comments. You got one of these. Has yours broken? Has yours handled really hard use? Let's give Mr. Ford some really solid feedback on this. Go do hard things.